We ask you to be with us tonight and to guide us in all of our decisions for our community and for the area, Lord. Help us to do the right thing for the people here. God, just bless us and bless this meeting and bless everyone in this community. I ask it in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. Do I have anything on public comment? Item number 4 is approve the minutes of the August 21st, August 31st, September 6th, and September 8th meetings. I've got a copy of those.
I need to approve the minutes of all of them.
Got a motion from Richard and a second from Cecil to approve the minutes of all 4 of those meetings. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Excuse me, but since James was not at the others, will he abstain from?
I abstain.
Did you?
Yeah.
You abstain
I'll abstain.
from all 4 of them?
From all 4.
You were actually out one of them. You really ought to
All
vote
3.
on
I
that.
was out for 3 of them.
I know, you run for one of them.
That's okay.
You get that? He said he abstained. Okay, financial report.
Leslie?
We've ended our sales tax collections for the year, and we ended with a bang. We had a great month in September. You never know how it's gonna be, but it turned out really well. And Larry did the graph, and you'll see that we ended the year 9.47% over last year.
Amazing.
And then you have your July financial packet, just regular stuff. If y'all see anything and have any questions about anything, don't hesitate to holler at me.
I will say that we had our audit this past week.
Oh, yeah, the auditor was
She
here.
was here, and she'll be ready to present next month. I did tell her that if we had to, we could call a special meeting to get it done, because there's some other things that are waiting on that audit. But from what she told us, she was very, very pleased on how everything was trending and moving in the right direction.
She will come back for a couple of days to do some testing, and she's getting everything from EEDI. So I'm pleased with her. And she told JJ and I that she would do the next audit in January.
So we can get back on
Now
track.
that she knows we're here. Okay. Anything else for JJ? Okay. Presentation of the Eastern Economic Development Incorporation Annual Report.
All right. Okay, Richard, I'm gonna stay way back for you. This is our annual report, of which Roma told me on Friday that I was required to give, so thank you, Roma. The in your packet is just some information. We had our board meeting today at noon, and Matt Crum participated in his first meeting as James's replacement. Did a really good job with us. I've been giving this presentation to quite a few of our community groups, and I've really been enjoying, meeting the different groups and being able to do this. So a lot of this information you already know. We are when the EEDI was created by the vote of our public. We are a Type A organization, which means we go after the manufacturing companies, more of those people who manufacture things. I am asked all the time about Whataburgers and Rosas and all those other kind of stuff, but that's not really in our purview. And, we really try to delve down to people who are going to come in and put down plants like most of these. We've got about 114 acres, and the next several pages, I just gave you a picture, kind of a Google Earth picture of our thing. That first picture is of our business park. We currently have 92 acres, and then there is a list of businesses that we have in our business park right now. Of course, Barty Metals is a great example of a success story around here. The new person, the new company on this list who just came in about 5 months ago is Troy Construction. Troy is a construction company out of Houston. They have a short-term lease. They're going to be here about 6 months, 7 months to lay some pipelines down between us and Abilene. So the good news is we're going to make about $12,000 off of them in rent for the piece of property they're on. Plus, any given week, they've got about 350 employees in town. They're staying in our hotels, in our RV parks. So hopefully that will help out as well. And then, of course, we got a little bitty piece of acreage by the clinic, the medical park, 2 acres, and then out there right beside the airport is our property. We got about 20 acres of land right there beside the runway. And Myra Enterprises is our big company that's out there at the airport. And then Mighty Molding, Brent is not on any of our property, but we have had several ways of supporting him in the Mighty Molding Company. He's right there around the new Tractor Supply store, back behind the Maverick Grill. He's doing a really good job over there. The second piece of information I put on here is I wrote an article last week. Mr. O'Brien, appreciate you posting that in the newspaper, just kind of telling everybody kind of what we've been involved in and what we are going to be involved in. The big task between now and Christmas is getting Troy Construction shut down, getting them out of here, making sure the land looks better than what they got here. That's kind of what we talked about, so we'll do that in the next couple of months. And then it really should get kind of exciting right after Christmas. We're going to be involved. You all had in your leadership roles approved the building of the new CAD building, of the new county appraisal district building, and so we're going to be heavily involved in that. The developer that we've been working with over the last several months, Mr. Petroff, Nicholas Petroff, he has closed on the Stanley property on Main Street, and he's closed on the Warner subdivision there behind the medical park. The Stanley is going to be hopefully is going to play a lot of retail. Something he's got some plans there. The Warner is going to be residential, and he wants to put in some homes in there, and hopefully be able to do that. And how we're going to support that, we're going to have quite a few meetings between now and then to see what we can do to support that. So that's going to be exciting. It's going to be really exciting. He's very excited about Eastland right now. He's a developer out of Grapevine, and so it's been those have been some very good conversations. And you never know what's going to happen until he puts the money down. Well, he's paid for it now. Both of the properties are closed on, and so they're his, and hopefully that's gonna fly.
Harbor Freight Tractor Supply.
Harbor Freight, they're in Mineral Wells. The story that I got, Mayor, was that, they put a guy here in Eastland. He literally moved here, was trying to find it, and whatever length of time between them and them moving here, they could not come to a agreement about the use of the building. They wanted less of the building that the owners didn't want to break up. Does that make sense? They wanted X amount of square foot, and the owner didn't want to subdivide. And so we're actually still getting mail for them. I mean, they even got a mailing address here. And so, but they moved. I learned all this when the last piece of mail came. They placed him in Mineral Wells, and yeah, that's the story according to me.
You're finding a new tenant then?
Hopefully.
Sure. I've got great confidence.
Well, I'm glad, Larry. Thank you.
Is it Warner lot?
Where?
It's behind the medical park, behind the medical park. All right. Any other questions I can answer for you?
Any questions for Ryder on this item? So you got the next one too. I'm assuming.
Next two of them.
All right.
Right, thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Okay, the Board of City Commission may discuss and take action on the following agenda items. Item number 1, discussion and consideration of the economic development 22-23 amended budget.
Commissioners, the EEDI board approved this day at noon. This closes down our 22-23 budget, and only big adjustment was done was we separated Bar T because that was a big project in the business park. So the board members wanted to have a little bit more specific information of what we were spending at Bar T and then what we were doing for the rest of them. So that was really the only big adjustment. They didn't have very many questions for Donnie, and they approved this unanimously. And that shuts down our old budget.
It says FEY, fiscal year end 2023, is that what that means? What is the amended on the right side tell me?
What does it tell you?
Yeah, it says, well, the numbers, the annual budget and amended budget appear to be the identical same thing. And this is the,
I think it's an accounting deal where since your original budget, since this is different than the way the original budget was created, is my guess on this, because you're right. All the numbers add up. They're all the same of what they were, but like you said, they wanted a little bit more definition in what they spent the money on, and since we created new line items, you have to.
Mayor, what I'm usually used to when we close down budget is you move money from one of the expense lines from another to make sure that you're covered in every expense line, but it all comes out the same at the very end. And that's what the amended budget does on the right-hand column.
the fiscal year end is the actual, what happened.
Right. Yeah, you have the, as your board does, as they do, you have the discretion to move money as you need to.
Looks good. Lots of money. Looks good. You guys are healthy.
Yep.
Sales tax is healthy. Life is good. Any other questions for Ryder on that item? Item number 2, discussion, consider.
Do we need to?
Oh, we need to vote on that?
I make a motion that we approve the EEDI 22-23 amended budget as presented.
Second.
Got a motion from Cecil and a second from Richard. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you all.
And now item number 2, discussion and consideration of the Economic Development 2023-2024 budget.
All right, this is a lot better. It only has one column.
Yeah.
This is where we have selected it here at the beginning of the 23-24 budget to be able to spend what we need to spend and what we think our expenditures will be for the year. And then, of course, you'll get this back this time next year to see what we actually did.
So it's the same as 23 was?
It's most of the same columns, the expense lines, but we did, of course, we were able to add some revenue this year, so we adjusted some things, some business incentives money we added to, some marketing we added to, but it all came down to the zero at the end.
Were you able to reduce the business park expense $200,000 because Bart's kind of out of that?
Correct. Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I make a motion that we accept the EEDI fiscal year 2023-2024 budget.
I'll second that.
Motion from James and a second from Shirley to approve the Economic Development 2023-2024 budget. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you, I appreciate it, buddy. Item number 3, discussion and consideration to approve first reading of ordinance 23-897, amending the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget for the city.
Yes, commissioners, as we do every year, there's a lot of moving parts to our budget, and we have to move monies around. This year, we did have a couple of bigger capital items that we purchased. One was a couple of new pickups that we used money from the surplus sales of our equipment that we're not using. And the other one was a big, we weren't anticipating. Remember when all the street lights were out earlier this year? Well, yeah, those are those are ours, according to Encore.
Yeah.
And we were gonna replace that one pole.
That one that got knocked down.
Yeah, and it was gonna be like $20,000 by the time it was all said and done. But he said for, what was it? $30,000, I can replace that one and change them all out to LEDs. So eventually we're gonna have to do that. We were gonna have to do that anyways, because those lights are old, they were starting to fail because they're old, the old type where the, yeah, incandescent bulbs and stuff like that, they're just not making them anymore. It sounds like while you're here, and I don't know when you can come back, let's just get it done.
And sometime next year, those incandescents are gonna be outlawed.
Yeah, and it's something we're gonna have to plan for in the future, because we still have a few closer to this end of town that are older and we'll have to replace at some point. But I think we'll let those ride till we have to kick that can.
Any other questions for JJ? Entertain a motion.
I move that we pass the ordinance number 23-897, amending the 2022 and 2023 budgets.
Second.
Got a motion from Richard and a second from Cecil to approve on the first reading, ordinance 23-897. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries,
And that will be on next month's agenda also, for the second reading.
unless we meet earlier.
Sure.
All right, item number 4, discussion and consideration to authorize the city of Easton to initiate the procurement of services for a grant administration company for the preparation and submission of a grant application to the U.S. Forest Service for the Community Wildfire Defense Grant Program through the U.S. Department of Agriculture for a community wildfire implementation project.
Yes, and I apologize, when we usually have stuff like this to come up, I like to talk to everybody before we go. I mean, I haven't even had a chance to really, Chief Williamson and I had a 5-minute conversation about it. Last Thursday afternoon, Darwin Archer, the city manager in Cisco, reached out, and Judy Langford had got a hold of him about this grant. What this grant is the city of Eastland, city of Cisco, and city of Ranger, and Eastland County will all have our individual parts to go in for this wildfire mitigation grant. And the first step is to procure services to fill out the grant application. And essentially what this will do is we will fall under the county's umbrella, and the leaders of these communities will come together and we'll put together a formal wildlife mitigation hazard program. Then after that is done, let me back up. This is a zero match for the plan itself up to $250,000. So then once we complete that and we go through and get all the MOUs, mutual understandings in place and stuff, that will open us up to grants in the future, larger grants, up to $10 million per entity. So there's a potential of $40 million being in Eastland County for these grants. And that is zero match is what Ms. Langford explained to us. And like I said, I apologize. It all happened really fast at 4:30 on Thursday afternoon, and we just kind of went from there. I'm a big fan of grants, especially when it's $0 match to the city.
Amen.
And with that money, we can buy new equipment for wildland fire.
It starts off at 250, could be as big as 10 million.
The 250 will be just to put the plan together, and then we will file for more grants up to $10 million. Basically, the way I understand it is that we'll put this plan together, and it'll identify what our needs are and what, if we want to buy a bulldozer, what that bulldozer will be used for wildland firefighting and stuff like that. And then each city will take its part and file for its own grant to purchase what their needs are.
What is the relationship with the cities and the county? If one of them doesn't do their part and the rest of us still move on?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because I think that's where because we're individual, if the city of Cisco decided we're out of that, they couldn't file for the,
But it doesn't impact us. If somebody doesn't play, it's still,
No.
we're still on fire.
we're still on fire. And with the way the grants are going now is everybody wants to see regional because it's more bang for their buck also.
Judy Langford has done a lot of work for the city, in preparation of grants. And, whenever you look at this and see a zero match, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
That's kind of,
You know why the city manager jumped on that one?
well, yeah, it was kind of one of those deals. That's exactly right. You know, if it had been a match, we'd all been like, hang on, let's hold up. I'm not in on that yet. But she said zero match, and we're like, okay, we'll throw it out there.
Like that one.
Yeah.
Now, this is for services for a grant administration company. So
That
we
will-
get bid from somebody to do this?
We
Judy
will.
Langford's not automatic?
No, you have to go. Still have to go through your procurement process. This is just that we are going to go out and advertise.
It's red tape.
Yeah, she's already, she sent over we already have the newspaper, article or bid sheet to run and stuff like that, so we'll get on it pretty quick if y'all choose to participate.
Okay.
I make the motion that we approve resolution 2023-20.
A motion from Cecil,
I'll second.
second from James to approve resolution 2023-10. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 5, discussion and consideration to renew publicity and tourism agreement with McLeod Museum.
Yes, Commissioner, this is something we do every year. The McLeod Museum receives support for us, and we just need to go through and update and get our new agreement for this upcoming year. One thing I am going to add is there is a letter that will be attached with the first checks that go out that is stating that, you know, we did vote on to increase their funding for this year. And, you know, knock on wood, if anything goes south, that we have to cut back on the funding, we will.
Where's the money come from?
Hotel motel money. This
Yeah,
is not
sure.
our general fund money.
I'd sure like to see monthly reports from all of these.
We asked them.
It's a quarterly report, and I want that in that letter,
Quarterly,
glad you
yes.
said that. We need to make sure that's in that letter, they give us those. And they need to all be at the same time, we need to tell them there's a specific
Yeah,
time.
it's in contract, it's in the agreement.
They need to know, yeah, it is.
And if anybody can help me, who was the lady that was doing the McLeod Museum?
Williamson,
Sherry?
Sherry Williamson.
I believe she's not doing that anymore.
She's not here anymore.
Yeah, I heard that she moved, so I've got to track down who's
I
handling
was gonna ask who,
her is handling that stuff now.
Why don't you tell them we've got money and see who they send over here? Pretty, see, you going looking for them, they, you know, you got a check laying here on the desk, who
Our
wants
old city manager,
it? Talk to Ron Holiday,
Ron Holiday, keep the door open.
he'd be a good one to go to. Okay, we've got all of these are the same thing, so you got a question on one of them, get after it. But here's number 1 for the McLeod Museum for $24,000 a year.
I'll make a motion to approve to renew the publicity and tourism agreement with McLeod Museum.
Second.
Shirley made the proposal and you, Richard, has seconded that. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item number 6, discussion and consideration of renewed publicity and tourism grant with the Eastern Community Foundation.
Well, I'll tell you, some organizations on fire. I mean, they really, do a lot to bring tourists to Eastern. So I would, make the motion to accept or to renew publicity and tourism agreement with the Eastern Community
I'll
Foundation.
second that one too.
Motion from Cecil and a second by Richard to renew the publicity and tourism grant for Eastern Community Foundation for $36,000. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Item number 7, discussion consideration of new publicity and tourism agreement with the Eastern Fine Arts Association.
Trying to jog my memory, this is very further majestic, isn't that right?
Yeah, which is under the umbrella of the fine arts.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we renew the publicity and tourism agreement with the Eastern Fine Arts Association.
Second.
got a motion from James and a second from Richard to approve to renew the publicity and tourism agreement with Eastern Fine Arts for $55,000. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 8 is discussion and consideration to renew the publicity and tourism agreement with Eastern Chamber of Commerce, and that is $30,000.
I say the same thing about the Chamber of Commerce as did about the Community Foundation. While they have a old rip coming up, they've been throwing in festivals
She
and
just doesn't matter.
doing a lot of stuff.
They're getting better every day.
I would vote or make a motion to renew the publicity and tourism agreement with Eastern Chamber of Commerce.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Cecil and a second from James to approve to renew the publicity and tourism agreement with Eastern Chamber of Commerce. Any other discussion? Are you gonna abstain? Are you gonna vote? You vote, okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I don't
Motion
get any
carried.
benefit from it.
Choose your daughter's school.
You should have voted no.
Oh.
Item number 9, got a no vote by Shirley. Item number 9, discuss consideration to renew the publicity and tourism agreement with the Eastern County Museum. $24,000.
I'll make a motion to approve to renew the publicity and tourism agreement with the Eastern County Museum.
Okay,
I'll second.
motion by Shirley and second by James to approve and renew the publicity and tourism agreement with the Eastern County Museum for $24,000. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. City manager's briefing.
Yes, Commission, the flood mitigation, we're fixing to go out for bids for the first part of it, the channel clearing, portion of it. We gave the landowners more than enough time. And we talked about it in our meeting on Friday, that if for some reason somebody changes their mind on this, we'll file for a change order on adding them in, if possible. But we've got to get going on that. On the second one, on the flood infrastructure fund grant, which is our H&H study, the final report is filed. The Texas Water Development Board is almost through reviewing it. We talked about that today during a meeting that I had, and they're almost through. But on that note, when did I go to? Thursday. Last Thursday, I went to Denton and participated in a panel at the Flood Managers Association conference. They had picked our H&H study to do a panel report over and stuff like that, just in the importance of keeping them updated and having them and stuff like that. So it was really good, and it was interesting to hear the questions, even though I did not understand half the questions the engineers were asking to the other engineers, but it was very interesting to hear that back and forth and how they thought it was very, very successful. The signal lights. I have tried to talk to TxDOT. HV, who'd you talk to at TxDOT about the signal lights?
I will, I have.
Okay. So I was just wondering where you got you said they were gonna start on Monday, and I didn't see that, so.
I said that.
Huh?
I said that.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I was just wondering.
Just overselling little.
The airport project is pretty much complete. We're closing it out. We did our final walkthrough last week, so it turned out really, really good. And I'll try to get some pictures for next time so y'all can see before and after. Brickfest, October 7th. Don't forget. There's something else happening on the square this weekend too, that St. Xavier's, they have their festival every year. I believe that is it this weekend or next weekend?
It's coming weekend
Yeah.
according to the paper.
Yeah,
I was looking at
it's
it.
Saturday,
Yeah.
I believe, which is
It's
it?
already the 20th.
And I will be out of town from the 1st to the 6th. So that's all I have. Yeah, I'm going to Rio for a week. Way off.
With him, his family.
Okay, any other question, anything else for Judge?
It's probably still at-
Yes, ma'am. Does a bang up job.
Tommy?
Yes. Okay. Commissioners, the month of August, Terry had started with 74 cases. He opened 24 new cases, closed 19. Left us with a total of 79. Out of those, we had 32 violations open, closed 30 of them. We had 2 junk vehicles, had 6 citations sent out. We assessed fines in the amount of $2,947. We show through our report that there was $1,467 in fines that were dismissed. Terry and Dina are still trying to figure out exactly what fines of those were that were dismissed. There was a question about that because he wasn't sure that there were some that were dismissed. So him and Dina are still trying to figure that number out.
She's the one that dismisses those, isn't
The court, she's with the court that would dismiss it. We're just trying to he wasn't sure which ones they were because he didn't show that he had any dismissed.
she?
So from what I understand.
Is that on recommendation from Jerry?
No, yes, it depends on what the infraction is. If we have somebody that we're trying to work with, because we want compliance more than we want money. And if we're willing to work with some people, if they can bring themselves into compliance, we have no problem doing away with some of these, tickets. And sometimes it works out cheaper for them to just do what they need to do rather than have to keep finding them, because if we continue to do it, it becomes, a useless dog barking, So, but we want to make sure that we know exactly what these are for, and him and Dean are still trying to get that ironed out. But we did have one abatement from last month, $1,000. They did pay for that $1,000 it took to mow those properties. So we've got that, and we got good news because we had another check come in today for a significant amount, but that's going to be for next month.
Yeah, it's that lien that's on here.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's that lien.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, and that's it as far as code, unless anybody has any questions. We got some CO letters sent out, thanks to Joe. He's on top of the CO inspections for new businesses. Lux Salon is open on the square, and then on the south side of the square, we've got that arcade opened up. We're excited for both of those, and then we're just waiting for the other COs that are on hand. We're waiting for them to contact Joe so they're ready for their inspection. And then we've got the Gyro, Hero, whatever you want to call it. That little shop is opening. I've heard it's pretty good food.
Pretty good.
Is it? Yeah. And so still have new things coming in and opening up businesses, and we're excited to see that.
I noticed down at the bottom on the citations issued, all 4 of those are repeat.
Yes, sir. Sometimes, people just can't do without us, and they want us to come back and talk to them again and again and again. These are people normally that are frequent flyers that have. It's the same guy that doesn't mow his grass. It's the same guy that parks where he's not supposed to park. It's the same guy will let his water account lapse, and they're living without water, which is not allowed. It's just one of those things where we can't fix them forever, but we will have, but if they're in violation, Terry will send them a citation until we can get them back on the right path.
How long have they been repeating?
I'd have to go and see which ones these specifically are. I mean, I can get him to pull up the actual cases and can tell you his history with them if you wish.
I'm just curious, I mean, that's one of the things I'd say is I hope that's not people we're forgiving fines on if they keep repeating, then.
No, if it's, normally if we're giving fines, if somebody this is our first rodeo with
Yeah,
the issue. But if it's somebody that is just blatantly thumbing their nose at us, we're just gonna keep interacting with.
I got one thing. Tony, did you talk to the T people this last month?
Yes, yes. So the GC for HTO came in, was it last week or week before?
It was.
General contractor came in, and he came to make sure that they had all the permits they needed, and I explained that, you know, he's lucky here in Eastland, we don't require too much out of them, but they're excited to get started. He said that they haven't forgot us, that this is not gonna be like Harbor Freight was, because I told him we kind of got hurt about that, hurt feelings about that, but he said no. And I will say the one in Mineral Wells, it took them a long time to get that one finished, but they finally did get it finished. It's open and it's doing
You said
awesome.
it was good, so.
It's good stuff, and it's not that expensive either. It's a good deal. I told him I would really appreciate it if he could get going.
At least do something, move something around out there.
Yeah, but
Paint
it's
the building, do something.
yeah, but it's by the time they get done with it, it's going to look like a different building.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else for Tony? Absent? You're up.
August was a busy month for the police department. We had 263 calls for service, which we wrote 50 offense and incident reports, 540 business checks during the month, 16 arrests, and we filed 20 cases with the district attorney's office for the month. Traffic citations, there were 93 citations issued and 293 warnings. Animal control, there were 11 citations issued, 16 warnings, and they had 85 business calls for service for the month. And they impounded 14 animals, adopted 5, and quarantined 0 for the month. And most of the month we had 2 officers, an investigator that was gone for a week. He was out in training. We had an officer that was gone training for K9, and then we were an officer short for the month. So at points during the month, we were 3 officers down. So it was a scheduling nightmare. But we did take delivery of the new body cameras and they're activated. We're using them. We did a training class last Friday, and we've sent the first, got the DA's office on board, so the first videos that went over from the cloud, we gave them access and they pulled them down. So it's been a success so far.
What they think of it? What the DA?
They're really excited about it. Really excited about it. Also, we ran a search warrant, just kind of FYI, it was a big deal. We got word today it was on a child porn deal, and we got word today that the feds were going to accept it and prosecute it federally.
Wow.
Good. Arrests were made and all good. Goes fed, they'll do day for day up to so many years. So.
I noticed an ad for administrative assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Is Timmy no longer?
Yeah,
Timmy resigned on last
I
month.
thought she was she's not secretary anymore.
Oh, she resigned.
So you don't have anyone over there?
No. We're taking applications at the time.
Funny, you and Roman just swapped places. Okay.
Look, about that one.
Anything else for Captain Dan Wilson? Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you being here. Okay. Chief Williamson.
Good evening. We weren't as busy as we thought we were. We ended up with 60 runs 69 calls for service. Well, I think we started out real fast there in the beginning of August. That we ended up at 2.22 calls per day. So we're averaging 2.39 calls per day over the year. 42 of those incidents occurred within the city, and 23 occurred outside the city limits. And 4 incidents we responded to were mutual aiding with one of our neighbors. There were 0 smoke detectors installed last month, and 14 of the 69 incidents occurred after 2 o'clock and before 7 in the morning. We attended 4 structure fires for the month. 9 garage fires and 3 vehicle fires. 28 EMS calls that we assisted the ambulance service, along with 7 motor vehicle accidents, 4 public assists, 12 alarms or some type of public investigating, 0 rescues, and we had a hazardous incident call, hazmat call with a leaking gas meter. We still are currently stuck at 23 volunteers, and we are in recruitment, as always. We would always love to have people come join the team. We started off August very busy with the train derailment and those events that went on. The train derailment, I mentioned it in the last commission meeting, but we were able to host an after-action review on that with our members, and we invited some of the other departments that participated in that. It was a very, very good exercise. It was a very, very good incident to evaluate because in that event, everything went our way. So we were able to evaluate and analyze some of the potential hazards and risks that we could have encountered there, and the next one will be even better. We had an event last Monday. We reported a motor vehicle accident where a vehicle hit a pole in the 300 block of Seaman. Fire department representatives arrived and found the driver unresponsive without pulse. CPR was started. The ambulance service arrived, began the advanced life support of that. That patient was revived, delivered to the hospital with a pulse, and was flown out. So that's a prime example of what the taxpayers pay for, what the system is built to do. Every link in the chain performed, and that was a fantastic event for our emergency services, all in all. The fire department, Eastland Fire Department has received a $20,000 protective equipment grant through the Texas Forestry Service that will just continue to supplement and shore up our protective gear for our members. And then October 7th being the Old RIP Festival, and then the following weekend on October 14th, the fire department will be hosting our open house. And we've invited the police and the EMS to represent their kind of an all-together emergency services display for the community. We have lots of events planned and extrication demonstration, fire extinguishers, you can spray them on. So we just wanted to make that announcement. I hope if your schedules, you can attend.
What time is that going to be?
It is from 11 to 2.
We also secured that recruiting and retention grant for, I think, $3,000. We're in the process of securing a fully wrapped double canopy with those recruiting messages on it, a fire smoke detector message, and fire prevention messages and all that we can take around to our events and so forth.
Do you know off the top of your head at the Woodlands Assisted Living Facility, they have smoke detectors? If those go off, do they set off the fire alarm?
Yes. Those are monitored.
Is that the special type of smoke detector? That's something y'all deal with?
Well, we don't install those. Those are installed by contractors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are required to be inspected every year, correct?
Yeah, licensed, they have to be licensed to install that fire protective equipment.
One fell out of the ceiling the other day when I was out there.
Your local fire department did
Yeah.
install that.
Oh,
It is honest.
all one. It just fell out of the ceiling. Don't know what happened, but it did. Nearly hit a lady in the head. Okay, any other questions for the fire chief? Thank y'all. Appreciate what you do. Keep us safe. Thank you.
Move adjourned.
A motion from Richard, second from Cecil to adjourn. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank y'all.
Sure.